HHDG. Peace, HHDG. We are on another episode of HHDG Media, the podcast. Before we get into our guest for tonight, can't wait to talk to them about this. We got to give a big shout out to our HHDG Media crew, Rock Vader KB, the Mayor, T. Smith, Skelly Top, and myself, Wiki. Shout out to the Facebook group out there, HHDG. Hope y'all tuning in. As always, tune into our website down below, hhdgmedia.com. Go get some hoodies, official t-shirts. Check out the latest music that we post up on there and see what else we have going on for the future of 2022. Now, for tonight's guest, we have a very talented young musician. We'll get into that because he's more than just a producer. He's worked with some well-known artists coming up on the independent scene. And he's done fully produced projects with them, which is always a special thing for a producer, up-and-coming producer, to be able to be blessed to do a whole project. But we're gonna get into the type of equipment that he uses. Talk a little bit about family, and also talk about his upbringing. Now his production, it's not just strictly boom bap. He's got a range, and he's shown that, and he's shown that his style works perfect with the MCs that he's collaborated with throughout the years. So without further ado, we'd like to introduce, coming out of Indiana, Ed Glorious.
What's good?
How you doing, man?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And before we even start, guys, say happy birthday.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
33 today.
33. All right.
Yeah.
10 years younger than me. How's it feel?
Like any other day, really. You know what I mean? I took the day off, though, to enjoy my day. So that was a good part.
Yep. There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. Cool. So tell us, I seen you playing the drums before. So is that something that you grew up playing?
I started playing drums probably when I was like 12, 11 in church. It was like one of those things where I sat behind the set and then they're like, why don't you start playing? Because they needed a drummer. So it was just one of them learning processes, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So it was when I was a kid when I started playing.
Cool. And you've always lived in Indiana?
Yeah. Yep. I was born in Gary. So I've always grown up in the 219 area code. So I ended up in LaPorte, though, because I went through foster care and whatnot. So it's like this small town about like a half an hour outside of Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. So as far as the drumming, you said it was a learning process. Was there anything else, growing up that you were musically inclined with?
Yeah, I mean, at that same time, I was playing, picked up the guitar and was playing bass as well. When you go to church and stuff like that, like you end up playing everything, whatever, whoever's not there that night, you got to fill in for that person. So, yeah, that's kind of the environment it was for me coming up.
Cool. That's great.
Yeah.
And with the church, when did hip hop come into your life?
Well, because I got like segments of my life. You see what I'm saying? So, like hip hop was before coming into foster care and being adopted and whatnot. So like when I was real little, my early memories, the good ones, were just being around vinyl, hearing like Eazy-E, Tupac, but then at the same time, like hearing like Parliament and like Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes,
Ooh.
you know what I mean? So like all that was happening when I was little, you know what I mean? And then like obviously there was some other stuff going on that led me to leave Gary, but then I got thrown into the church environment where I was learning instruments and whatnot. You see what I'm saying on the other side of it.
Hmm.
So hip hop was always there. It just wasn't like I wasn't making beats at that time or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where your love of vinyl
Oh
came
yeah,
from.
yeah, yeah. I'm not making. Yeah, that was like I would sit there and just lay next to the player, and my dad, because he would play hip hop, but he was really into like old school soul and all that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because he was a younger cat. Like they had me when I was 15, when they were 15. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
like he had all the like modern hip hop at that time. You know what I mean? But then he was also really into the soul. So that's just been how it was since I was little.
Wow. That's a
Yeah,
blessing. You got both right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Nice, nice. So at what point did you say, I want to produce?
I think I always wanted to. It was like I knew that I would end up doing that. It was just finding the means and the way to do it. I wasn't really once I was adopted. I wasn't really in an environment that was accepting of hip hop and my culture. You see what I'm saying? At times,
Hmm.
so I had like little programs on the computer and I was trying to figure it out. And you got to remember, I'm 33 today, so I was coming up before like YouTube and a lot of that stuff was showing people how to do things. You know what I mean? So I was trying
Yeah.
to figure it out without having a lot of hands-on help from anybody else. So it was something I wanted to do as a kid, but it wasn't really till I hit my like later teen years where I was able to dive in and really start, figuring out my style and what I wanted to do with production.
Mhm. Nice.
Yeah.
And currently, your production equipment, that I've seen, is turntable, your SP404, and your Kai MPC1.
Yeah.
Which was, you said you mentioned software. What did you start out with first?
Well, when I was like, it was probably 13, I picked up this terrible program called Hip Hop EJ. It like just came on the laptop, and I'm like, oh, this is my moment. I'm gonna figure it all out. Of course, it just had like stabs that were just put into the program, little kicks and snares, and like I didn't know anything really about like looping that I know
Okay.
now. You know what I mean? So like, I was trying to make the little vocal stabs and all that, do what like Ye was doing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna figure it out, and I just couldn't. So like, that's what I started with. But then in my later teen years, I came across FL Studios, and that's
Uh,
where I actually, started putting all the pieces together. So that's where I originally started, was on FL Studios.
Fruity Loops.
Yeah. Yep.
And when you started with that, what was there any producers at that time that was also using it? Because I know Ninth One is one of the
That
big
was
purveyor
actually,
using it.
yeah. You mentioned Ninth. That was one of my biggest inspirations when it came to, especially using like FL. You know what I mean? At the time, I couldn't get my hands on like a sampler or anything, so that was my best
Mhm.
bet. So I got that cracked version, the free version. You know what I'm saying? So, but at the time when I guess I was kind of taking it serious, but wasn't, because this was probably around like 2009 when I was
Mhm.
getting into FL Studios and whatnot. I remember hearing about, because I actually linked with a dude from where I'm from that was connected to like Bronze Nazareth and Kevlar 7. So then I was
Ah.
getting inspired from like them. Do you see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
like, yeah, and then like Apollo Brown. So it wasn't always just based on FL, but those were the producers at that time that I was like, I like what they're doing. Like we just connected on a certain level, craft wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope. Wow. Hmm. Now, were you around anybody else, coming up around this time, that was maybe into the production like you were?
No, just at that time, I was my mentor is what I would call him is Wooden Chains, and he was doing he did 2 tapes with Kevlar 7, so I was spending a
Mm,
lot of time with him, just like listening and picking up on the craft. Now he was using what was he using? He was using Acid Pro, I think it was at the time to make beats. So
okay.
like, and he had a lot of gems to give me, you know what I mean, just advice and whatnot, because I was coming in just like wet behind the ears, like. I thought I knew everything, but there was so much I needed to know at that time. Because I think I was like, it was like 19, 20, and you think you know everything. So I was like, oh, what are you gonna show me? But like, there was a lot he showed me. So, but it was mostly like those guys like Kevlar 7 and Bronze that I was being influenced by. I think Rock Marciano at that same time as well. But I wasn't like in the loop with him or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just influence wise.
that's influence. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got that. Dope, dope. And what was your first project? Was that God's work?
Uh, that was my first project when I came into this like serious, and I was like, I'm really gonna like come in with a plan, and I'm gonna see it all the way through to the end. So like, God's work was my first project like that. Yeah, that was like the launching pad of like everything you see today, I think.
Yeah, I think for me, the first time I heard, I probably saw your name. Might have been when you worked with Miss Keen Harleen. I
Mm,
think that was like 2019, 2018.
yeah, 19. Yep.
Yeah, and that's when I started, checking to see what else you had out there. And that's when I saw God's work.
Yeah. Yeah. So that tape, that was the glorious tape that we had done. That's when I first got my 404. So that's when I
Mm,
started heading into like the sampler use and whatnot. I think at the same time, my cousin sent me a machine, an MK2 by machine. So I was using that too, just for a little bit.
and you weren't too weren't a fan of that one.
Uh, I didn't like being so trapped within the program the way that was.
Mm.
And at the same time, when he sent me that, we didn't realize that like I'd have to get like a whole new license and whatnot. And I just didn't feel like I didn't want to really
Okay.
yeah, I didn't really want to commit to like native instruments. I'm not saying it's a bad product or anything. It's
Mm.
just I was wanting to go more towards MPC anyway. So yeah.
So, mm. And after God's work, you had trying to remember public service announcement.
Yeah.
That was with Thrax King. And
Yeah.
now this album, caught my ear.
Mm. Yeah,
You had go ahead.
that's actually a dude that's where he lives where I live at in LaPorte. So both of those artists are actually local to the 219. So
Okay.
yeah.
Mm. Yeah, there was a track on it called Spirit.
Mm.
And that's the one that caught me. I was like, who is this guy?
See, I haven't heard that joint like since then, probably.
You still
That's
you
what's up.
keep up? You still keep up with him?
With Thrax,
Yeah.
yeah, we did a project. It came out in January of 2021. He
Mm.
called it a Tropal. So yeah, that was like I think that was around January of last year. Now I didn't put it on my page or anything. It's all
Mm.
on Thrax King stuff. So
Interesting. Yeah, I gotta go check that one out because I didn't hear about that one.
yeah.
Mhm. And the beauty of your production, like I was saying in the intro, is your style caters to, not exactly caters, but it sounds like the artists that you work with, like you already knew what type of
Mm,
sound that they were going to get from you,
hmm
and it worked so well.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like so besides those two artists, a lot of the people were not sitting down in the studio. You know what I mean? So like
Mhm.
typically when I lock in with somebody, I go and listen to everything that they've done and just try to like vibe with like their flow or whatever. You know what I mean? Just try to connect on like a deeper level and then give them beats that I think will work. Or normally now, lately, I'm just letting people dig through everything I have. But I usually lock in with
Okay.
like one artist at a time. I don't like sending
Yeah.
out. I don't send out beat packs or anything like that. So
Hmm.
it's one artist at a time. Because I think at least even if we can't send a studio, it's giving a vibe that we are working together on this. So it's
Right.
almost like we're the only ones in the room doing this project at that moment. So I think that's what helps with creating that vibe where it's like we are connecting and creating something. So
Yeah. And these artists that you work with, like you said, some of them are local, but you work with artists throughout the different parts of different regions of the U.S.
yeah, now yeah, yes, all over. Yeah, I
Now,
really wanted
now,
to branch out.
hmm, now,
So
did some of these artists reach out to you?
yeah, actually it all like the whole plan was I wanted to I went into it and I'm like I'm a craft project for people. Specifically just I wanted to build a brand around being able to tackle a whole album. That was actually
Hmm.
like my whole goal. I wanted to be able to do whole albums, not just placements. So like when you mentioned that, that's exactly what I went into this want to do was crafting full albums. Uh, what happened was I did like the few projects, started connecting with people online, and then I did the Glorious tape, and then Sequence reached out to me to do some work,
Ah, shout out to
and then
Sequence.
yeah, and then Sequence started linking me to like Prose and a bunch of other people, and then from there, it just started to expand, and you know what I mean? It just
Hmm.
yeah. Then I lost track, but it was Sequence that like got me linked with like Teller, Prose, and everybody. So
That's dope. Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, Sequence is the person um, that put me on the Big Gucci Crow, and a slew of other artists, from the South.
yeah, yeah. The South got something to say.
Hmm. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I'm always waiting for Big Gucci Crow to come out with some extra stuff.
Yeah, yeah. We're
Yeah,
supposed to
there's
be
like,
linking on something too, so that's being talked about.
all right, look forward to that.
Yeah,
That's dope. Hmm. Now, out of your projects that you produced so far, which is one that's personal, that feels personal for you.
personal. I feel like everyone does at the same time because it's like when I make these beats, I feel like it's like a part of me that's going into every beat that I make. You see what I'm saying? But
Mm.
as a project as a whole, the grotesque and beautiful probably. It was just I don't know. There was some of those beats in there I just connected with really deeply, so that's probably why I feel that way. And then at the same time, like the way that project came together, the
Mm.
cohesion and everything, it was just like I don't know, it was magic. So I would say most likely it's that project.
And for those people that are tuning in, we are speaking with Ed Glorious. Where did that name come from?
Mm. I mean, obviously my first name is Eddie, but the Glorious, I do like to, you know, who I was thinking about, like a magician. Do you see what I'm saying? And just being able to create something out of nothing, craft something out of nothing. Now,
Mm.
obviously, I'm not doing it out of nothing. I'm taking these songs that touched me in a certain way and then crafting something new that hopefully they can impact somebody else. So I guess like it was like some deep thought that I was having about it, and I don't know, I stumbled on that.
You had any other names before that?
Eddie G, like way back when I first got into it. So then the G, I guess, turned into Glorious. So
Hmm.
pretty much that's it.
And then when did you establish Glorious Crown Productions?
That was actually 2018. So like all those projects. So pretty much everything from then on is under Glorious Crown. I just was like quiet about it till like recently that I was putting my
Uh,
stamp on everything the whole time.
mhm.
You know what I mean? I wanted to build a foundation before I started to talk about certain things and bring it to light. You know what I mean?
And one of my favorite projects is, and you mentioned the grotesque and the beautiful, working with Taylor Banks. Then you
Hmm.
work with him again on
Yeah.
the part and parcel. This one right here.
Yep. That's what's up.
Tell us about working with him once again, because he's another versatile artist that
Yes.
I think he needs to get more shine, but I see him continuously elevating and getting noticed and people talking about him more and more.
Yeah. That's my dude, man. Like working with him is easy. That's one way to describe it. Easy. I just share packs or beats with him and like normally like actually it was two different processes though. So like Grotesque and Beautiful, I remember that was a crazy year because that was 2020 and there was a lot going
Hmm.
on. And then we just connected on this level when we went in, we locked in. And I remember he was there'd be a few nights he would hit me up, he'd be on some acid and he'd be going in on beats and I'm like, this is gonna be interesting. And I knew like as we were crafting that something special was happening. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like I don't know, like I feel like we come from things like we come to the same conclusion from different perspectives. That's how it's like we work together. You know what I mean? We see eye to eye on a lot of different things, very different
Yeah.
people, but at the same time there are a lot of we connect on a lot of things. You know what I mean? So it's just easy, man. That's like my brother. So
And in 2020, you also started working on beats that are now on your 2022 album, Bail.
oh yeah, yeah, yep. Yeah, I had no idea that was gonna happen like that either, but things fall into place, I guess.
Hmm. And with that time, you know, from 2020 to 2022, how was your creative process? Did anything change? Were you more driven at a certain time?
I don't think I was any more driven, just more focused.
Mm.
Uh, I'm a planner. I like to, I mean, that's what I do in my day job. I manage production, so it's like physical production, you know what I mean? So it's
Mm.
like I take that same mentality to music and I'm like, but still leaving it open to be artistically creative at the same time. But I would just say I was more focused on crafting and spending time on the beats, not going
Mm.
in and like just 15-minute beats. Nothing against 15-minute beats because I can do that, but like I was just taking my time. You know what I mean? That's all it was. And just I had met the artist that did that cover through through one of my wife's friends, and
Okay.
I saw his artwork and I was like, man, this is dope. I bought the artwork early on, and I
Hmm.
was like, let's just see what happens. You know what I mean? So it just kind of came together over time. But I would just say more focused. That's about it.
Okay. Hmm. Shout out to Alex Easton, the artist,
Yes.
for your album cover.
Yeah. He actually lives down the road from me, so that's real dope.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. I'm going to tell you two of my favorite tracks on there. Keep Running, I think, yeah, track 3.
Hmm.
And what was the other one? Innovation.
Mm. I love both of those beats too.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Keep
Hmm.
running gave me the vibe like when you see the city burning, and I imagine people fleeing. That's why I put that joint in there so early on. You know what I mean? So it was like the perfect track for me to fit that project. So
So now your sequence, because you said you're a person that likes to plan. How
yeah,
was your sequencing with this project?
at first it was terrible because I got like 300 beats. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out at first because I was focused on creating. You see what I'm saying? And then
Hmm.
you get to it where you're like, all right, I got to put this together. And then you start looking at all the joints you got, and you're like, I don't even know how I'm gonna do this now. So it was just I started weeding things down that would fit the narrative of what I was trying to share on my experience and whatnot. And I
Hmm.
think I got it down to like 60 joints, and I'm like, we got to keep going. So like I got it down to 33, obviously because it's symbolic to my age at that time.
Age.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So like I got it down to 33, and that worked out good. And then I just wanted to line things up to what I felt would tell like a musical story. That's what I really try to do with my beats, though, is like tell a story without words and without
Yeah.
clips or anything. You know what I mean? I just want the track to talk and give you a vibe or a feel. That's what I want to happen. So like "Pray for You" being the opening joint is like it's sending everybody off. Like
Yeah.
I'm praying for you. Like I hope things work out. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much how the sequencing was working. Was I was playing on like some of the tracks that have like vocals that shine through. I wanted they're there for a reason. So that "Keep Running," you heard it. It is there for a reason. Like you know what I mean? So it was just lining that stuff up by feel and vibe and just going with it. You know what I mean? But it
Yeah.
did originally start with like probably like over 100 joints, and I didn't know how I was gonna get it down to where we're at now. So
That's always the hardest thing when you have your work is narrowing it down to
yeah,
what you
yeah,
want to give the people.
yep. I think that's a good problem to have though, versus not
Hmm.
having anything to give. So
Yes.
I'll take it every time.
Dope, dope, dope. Now, how's your little one, your oldest, with the production? How's she taking to it?
Man, she's back. She's in gymnastics now, so
Oh, okay.
uh, she was having fun with it, but like she's just more interested in what I'm creating and then like doing her thing with like gymnastics and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So I don't really try to force them into like I want you guys to be little beat makers. Like
Hmm.
I want that,
It,
that'd be dope, but
yeah.
like if it comes, it comes, you know what I mean? It's
Right. Right.
there. I don't discourage them from touching the pads and whatnot. So
Hmm.
when
You
she
never
wants to
know.
do it, she'll try it. You know, yeah,
She'll
you
ask.
never
Yeah.
know. So I
Hmm.
think if the timing and if it's something that she really connects with, I think she's in the right house to at least flourish with that if, that's what she wants. So you never know.
Yeah. It could be at
Both
any
of them
given
been
time.
singing a lot. They both been singing a lot
Oh.
lately. So
Okay.
maybe I'll start producing for them.
Hmm. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice. Hmm. Now, I also noticed uh, you got some woodworking skills, wood shop.
Mm, I did.
Oh, you did. Oh,
Yeah, that's
okay.
not something. Yeah, I can. It's just
Mm.
it's not something I enjoy as much as like, you know what I mean? It feels like work when I get out of work.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, I can do it, but I just don't enjoy it. I did think I was gonna like do that for a while as like a side job, but then
Hmm.
it's just a lot of work. So if my wife wants something, I'll do it. So
It's great to have another skill, though. There you go.
yeah, yes, I did like make our TV stand and stuff like that. So that's kind of dope to be able to tell people.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one of what's something that you built that you're always proud of aside from the TV stand?
I mean, out of the things I've done though, because mostly it's like shelves. I did like a blanket ladder. I think the TV stand is probably the thing that I'm proudest of though, because
Mm-hmm.
some of the wood that came that I used for that was from like an old church, like from like turn of the century old. So like it's like old oak. So the thing is heavy. It's real heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So I always need like somebody else to help me move it. But it's real cool. I mean, I think that's the thing I'm most proud of, just because I was able to incorporate something with like a little history on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
That's great. Yeah.
yeah,
That's definitely special right there.
yeah, yep.
Mhm. Now, who are some artists that you would like to work with?
I don't even know because really I like finding people that aren't even like that are. I don't know.
Not on the
I'm
map yet?
Yeah, I like finding like working with people that like aren't all the way on the map. I used
Mm-hmm.
to think that I wanted to just get the placements and get with like the bigger dudes and stuff, and but then it's like there's something special about what I'm doing right now with connecting with people and building it from the ground up. So, and I'm getting to work with like people that I feel are like becoming my friends and family. So like that's just got a whole different vibe to it now. And then you know how it is. Then you don't even want to go outside the circle. Sometimes you're like, nah, I'll just keep it in the family. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, I mean, I did say RJ Payne posted the other day saying he wanted to tap in with producers, and I was like, glorious Payne, let's do it. So that'd be dope.
That's big dope. Yep.
Because I want to hear him on
Perfect
something.
title.
Yeah, right. And I want to hear him on something. Like I like his bars and everything he's done, and I kind of think maybe I could bring something different than some of the producers he's working with. Nothing against anybody, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe just get him on something a little different.
Yeah, his recent project, it had a more sentimental
Yeah,
side. Even
yeah,
though he's spitting his bars, it had
yes,
a very sentimental, real personal feel to it.
yeah, yep. And I think we could build on that, but only
Hmm.
if things align. You know what I mean? One thing is I don't want to do anything forced, and I don't want to
Yeah.
force somebody to work with me either. So it's got to be natural, and it's just got to be like the timing's got to be right on all of this. So that's something I'm learning is patience. Just go with the flow and create create something that feels when I say with ease, it's not like I want it to be easy, but just like with working with Teller or any of the guys, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Yeah. I do have a project that I'm working on right now with a dude out of New York, Blast 89. Him and Doof dropped a joint uh, a few weeks ago. So I just connected with him because he's actually going to be he's one of the artists featured on Prozaina's up and coming project. So
Ah,
yeah, that happened organically. You see what I'm saying? Like I was listening to tracks that Proza's been recording. He was on one of the joints, and then I heard him obviously on Doof's production. So then we just kind of started talking, and it just now we're making a project. So that's how I want it to go, pretty much.
yeah. Shout out to Doof and Prose. We had Prose on the show recently, but Doof, his work it's different, but he's still got that quality work that he puts out, with his
Yeah,
skills.
yeah, he's inspiring,
Hmm.
and I like the way that he creates his sounds. It's original to me, so like that's one of the dudes that I think you can look to and be inspired by.
Absolutely. And I mean, you have instrumental projects out there, and you
Yeah.
also thank you for releasing Southern Glory
Mm,
instrumentals. Shout out to Corey Gibson. I'm
yeah.
waiting for him to drop some more stuff too.
Yeah.
But your project, Autumn Spell, that's my favorite.
Really.
out of those two, as far as the instrumentals that you put out. Yeah.
Awesome. I haven't heard anybody
I,
talk about that one. So
really.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that one has, when you want to be at one with nature, and you still have your spiritual side.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
that feels like that's the type of project that you put out with that one. That's how I feel about that one.
That's exactly where I was at. So it's crazy that you're saying that because that's what I went into it feeling and crafting. So that means I'm accomplishing what I want to, the messages I want to relay and whatnot. So the music is talking. So that actually means a lot.
Wow, man. Hmm. And some of the other artists that you've worked with, Priest Clay,
hmm
um, Sleep Sinatra. Shout out to Sleep Sinatra.
Yep.
He's home now.
Yep.
Looking forward to him continuously putting more music out too. He's
Hey,
another one that,
yes. And he's already back to work too.
yeah,
Because he dropped today too. So, and that's a dope project. And that's
yeah.
all his production too. So he's another one that you can just sit back, listen to, and get inspired by. So, yeah.
One thing we haven't spoken about is your creation with your production.
Mm.
How is it, when you're ready to make something? What's your process? How do you go about it? Do you have you already listen to a sample first and then you create from there? Or sometimes you just might have something in mind already?
I don't know. Every time, like, it's like I get into these time periods where it's one way, and then I'll get into like, I'll call it a funk where I won't create for like a brief little moment, and then I'll
Hmm.
find a new way to find inspiration. So right now it's been actually getting vinyl, physical vinyl, and listening. So it hasn't even been a lot of creating lately. It's been listening. And that's probably like some I always make everything really deep. I know that. So it's like this is probably some lesson I have to learn right now where it's just being patient and listening and then the creation will come. So it's not forced right now. It's just sitting back and listening for things that appeal to me,
Hmm.
parts of the songs that just connect on a deeper level. So that's really what I'm looking for, when I'm sitting down. Uh, I'm not afraid of using YouTube, to find something, but lately it has been going out getting vinyl and doing it that way. So
Nice, nice. And
yeah, and
speaking on the,
as far as like drums and all
mhm.
that, I go back and forth on sometimes I'll start with the drums, then chop the sample. Sometimes I'll chop the sample. I think Teller was talking about it before, and like it was like a few days ago. Sometimes the beat will start one way, and like an hour or two later, I got a whole different thing going on. So like, hey, it just depends. You know what I mean?
Now, are you the one that just uses drums that you find, or do you also, being that you're a drummer as well, use some of your drums?
Now I got rid of I did have an electric drum set, but it wasn't working the way I needed it to
Hmm.
work. So I haven't played anything actually through a drum set to record. Now that'd be dope. And I have like actual like snares and whatnot. I just haven't done that. So it's mostly like I'll chop up a break or I already have like breaks and whatnot. You know what I mean? Or snares and stuff
Yeah,
like that laid out. So it just depends.
nice, nice. And being that you are a fan of vinyl for quite some time now,
Yeah,
I gotta give
yeah.
you a shout out because I support vinyl as well. But
hmm
coming from a standpoint of a producer or an artist, that shows that they're actually supporting the vinyl that's out there from, the artists that you're actually working with and other artists that are putting out new music. I
Yeah,
salute you on that.
yeah. I mean, I just love I love the craft. I love watching people create like dope little pieces of art. So it's like, I mean, you can't help but support. You know what I mean? So
Mhm. What's one of your projects that you would like to have on vinyl?
probably the part and parcel that feels like it should be on vinyl. Uh, I feel like a lot of the things I'm doing moving forward need to see vinyl. Uh, you know what I mean? Because I'm hearing what's going to be coming out, and I'm like, this should get vinyl, that should get vinyl. But
Hmm.
having the CDs has been nice as well. Just having that physical product to be able to give people, because people are connecting with the art now on a deeper level. So I definitely am seeing how I want to give them something that they can like hold on to. Because I remember being a kid and sitting there with the CDs or the vinyl, and you're just looking through everything, or you're looking at the back while you're listening. You know what I mean? So I just think that seeing people connect with it at that level has been dope. So if I could, I would have everything go on vinyl that I've done, but that's not always feasible financially. So,
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
but if I had to pick a project, it'd be the part and parcel.
You hear that, Teller? Let's make that happen. Nah, I know it's not that easy,
No,
especially right now. If you want vinyl right now, it'll probably be 2023 when you get
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. A lot of that's been hard to get hands on, mostly because the mainstream has seen like how vinyl sales have gone,
Hmm.
and I've been seeing like artists like Adele, and no hate on anybody, but
No,
bigger
not
artists
at
going,
all.
yeah,
It's
so
just they get prioritized.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
all it is.
Why wouldn't they? I get it, but
Hmm.
at that same time, that narrative went out the window of people aren't buying physicals. Oh,
Hmm.
oh, obviously you guys know they're buying physicals now, so
Yep.
that's why I've been cracking
Hmm.
up with this whole like yay thing that's going on with the stem player and all that, and
The stem player. Hmm.
people hating on the 200, and I'm like, really? Okay.
You have no idea.
You have no idea that people are willing to pay that, especially for someone like him. It makes sense. So like,
Yeah.
if Teller and I can sell a CD, I don't see why. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah.
People enjoy
Yeah.
physicals. People are enjoying buying music and investing in the art now. So it's really nice to see that turnaround from where it was like 5 years ago. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been, I think, three different projects I've seen on released on mini disc last year.
Mm, okay. Wow.
Yeah. Definitely unexpected.
Yeah.
And as far as your music, hmm, is there anybody, like a well-known name that, reached reached out to you, and saluted you on your music?
Hmm. I mean, I get praise like that. You know what I mean? But like, uh, I don't know. Like things always get to me like secondhand. So, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like I remember, like K Burns told me that one night, like Planet Asia was freestyling on one of the joints that we put out for our project.
nice.
So like I get a lot of secondhand stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But I mean, I got people watching. I know who's watching and who will praise me privately and whatnot. I don't like to say certain things because then it's like, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be like, like I don't want to like name drop and stuff like that. But like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm receiving private praise and hearing a lot, so there's good things happening. You know what I mean? So
That's great.
yeah,
Yeah.
hearing that like legends are freestyling on the beats, that always makes me happy. So and
Hmm.
especially with somebody like Planet Asia. You know what I mean? That's like younger me sitting there like freaking out. So
So now that bail is out today on your
mhm,
birthday,
yeah,
how does that feel?
honestly, it feels good. I mean, it's been in the works obviously for like a 2 years because I've had that cover. It feels good to get it out. It feels good to do it on my birthday, and now I feel like I can move forward with the rest of the year, project wise and whatnot, and just prep for these upcoming releases. So that it's just kind of nice to get it off my plate at the same time,
Mm,
like a relief. So yeah, it feels good.
mm. And for those that are tuning in, bail is also available on CD on
Hmm.
Ed Glorious Bandcamp. I'll put
Yeah,
the link in the comments for those that are interested.
yeah, yeah. This was my first CD on my own too. Normally I'm going in with somebody else, so it was good to do like that merch release with it or that physical copy with the beat tape as well. So that was
Yeah,
really dope.
definitely. So you got multiple projects coming out.
Yes, yeah.
Some,
Zay and I just wrapped up ours, so that's in the mixing stages. I think there might be one more song that needs to be recorded, but that's pretty much, in the mixing stage. So, and Timepiece is handling the mixing on that one. So that'll
oh,
sound real good. Yeah, yeah, he's got good ears. So
hmm, that's
then,
interesting. Yeah, because I know he has Timepiece has worked with Prozate before in the past.
yeah,
Yeah, wow. So
yep. So we got him on the mixing for that, and then I connected with Blast 89. So we're just at the early stages of creation for that project, but he's already been sitting down writing, getting ideas together for that. And then Josiah the Gift and I've been working on a project since like 2019. So that feels like, I don't know, that might be the pinnacle. That's been building. I've been ready for that to drop, but we've changed a lot of the beats out and whatnot because obviously
mhm.
I progressed from 2019 to now. So there's been a lot of changes and whatnot, but we've been working on that, and I think we're looking at third or fourth quarter for that release.
Okay.
So
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, Josiah's a
yeah,
beast too.
yes,
Shout out
yeah.
the
I've been a
whole
fan of
Umbrella
his.
crew.
Yep, all of them. If I were to work with some people, it'd be Pro Dillinger as well. So because I think he's dope.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
Pro Dillinger, man. That dude right there, man. His grind,
Hmm.
his grind and work ethic needs to be noticed too. Yeah.
I think it is, and I like that he did it. Like it's just like a brick by brick, building like a
Hmm.
strong foundation. So that's inspiring to me to see somebody else like that. You know what I mean? Not looking for handouts, but just like showing and proving. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That they belong where they're at. So
Is there any producers that you ever wanted to, like just do a instrumental album with? Like just collab to do like an instrumental project?
Killer Kane and I kind of had
Killer
that
King.
because we
Mm.
did like 8 or 9 joints where like on one joint I would handle the drums, he would do the sample, or vice versa. So we ended up with like 9 tracks. We just never put it out as like a tape or anything. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I mean, I got a lot of people I'm inspired by, but it'd be dope to connect and do some more like building like that. You know what I mean? But maybe like Doof. Uh, I don't know. I mean, because everybody's process is so different. I've learned. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'm always open to chopping some samples though and sending them over to the homies. So
I think you and Corey Gibson. That's
okay,
what I was thinking.
yeah, that'd be dope. Like a whole project.
The whole project,
Well, we need to get to work on that thing.
yeah. Dope, man. You know, I enjoy, speaking with you tonight, letting the people know your process, letting them know the projects that you have out,
Yeah.
projects that are soon to be coming out,
Hmm.
you know, and overall, my last question for tonight is church is in your heart and it shows in your music. And I'm sure that, that part of your life is also shown, through your family and in that drive with your music. How do you keep all that together? And
As in which aspect, like the family unit, or
yeah. Hmm.
yeah, uh, being patient, understanding, and just like I don't know, man. I'm just always putting like them first. You know what I mean? And doing what's best for the whole unit together, not just myself. So
Hmm.
you know what I mean? I guess it's kind of like a little bit sacrificial, but when you got little ones and a wife, you got to be that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I guess like a lot of the times, like it may not shine through everywhere else, but I do take on like a leadership role in my like day life. You know what I mean? So I'm so used to that that it's just not even, it's just a part of who I am. You know what I mean? So
Natural. Yeah.
when it comes to getting things done and moving forward, that's just what I do. I do tend to, when it comes to, I've noticed that when it comes to like working on music, I kind of like let the artists lead though, because they are the one doing the talking. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna provide them
Mm.
canvas and let them, do their thing. But when it comes to like the family and whatnot, I just try to be everything I can be for them. You know what I mean?
There it
I guess
is.
just some of the values I learned growing up and whatnot,
Yeah.
over time.
It's important.
Yes. Yes.
It's what builds, a person's character.
Yeah. And they've been such a good support system when it comes to what I'm doing with this. So they've been able to finally see some of the fruits that I talked about in 2018. So it's been paying off nicely.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes.
Dope, man. I don't want to keep you much longer on your birthday, but definitely appreciate you taking the time out, to let HHDG Media speak with you. And glorious, everybody.
Yes. It's been an honor. And thank you for having me, for real.
I appreciate that, definitely. And for everyone out there, Ed Glorious is going to let you know where he can be reached at and where he can go and support his music.
Yeah, you can go to eggglorious.com and you can pick up most of my work in physical copy and digital download. You can also follow me at eggglorious on Instagram and eggglorious on Twitter as well.
Great, man. Like I said in the beginning, happy birthday. And be
Hey,
all
thank you.
in behalf of all of our HHDG Media crew, we're going to say peace.
Peace.